The last 24 hours and then now the next 24 hours will be very crucial into me where we're at as a nation, where we're as a world, and what our thought pattern is going forward. Now, what are we talking about? Well, we have Nepal falling. We have the French government collapsing. Now they're calling for Macron to resign. We have Syria and Qatar having bombs going off that Israel put in those areas, not in the main capitals as in, but bombing Qatar or Syria, but bombing Hamas targets in those areas. A lot is taking place. That's on the national side. We have the European Union coming out stating that New World Order is needed. Kind of scary. Now let's talk domestically. We see the war upon white conservatives and white women happening more and more. Now it's time for men to stand up. The last 24 hours has been very, very crucial to that. Now we're also going to talk about what FBI just said over the last 24 hours. They talk about how AI is getting to a point where people can't realize what real and what fake is. We warned about this the last few months, and now we're seeing it. How dangerous would this be if all of a sudden a world leader come out and said something, and all of a sudden, after the aftermath of something major happening, we realized it was all just a fake video of Trump or Putin or Netanyahu or Macron? This could be very, very bad. We're going to discuss all these stories today and how we have to reawaken and have revival. Even Elon Musk says without religion and without some kind of reawakening revival, our nation will cease to exist. I do agree. It's just our hope and faith needs to be in one thing. We'll talk about that. Let's dive into all these stories today. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. It has been a very, very burdensome to me last 24 hours. And because of that, that's becoming a realization that each 24 hours we live, something crazy can happen. Let's start off worldly first, because I want us to talk about the world issues, because we need to bring it back home to some of the big issues that are happening here, because that's where I really want to really camp out in this video. But I just want to mention a few things dealing with the world. So we've seen Nepal. Nepal is I mean, there's a lot of the country that's third world country. I mean, it's just like India. It's just like a lot of these other cultures in the East, where it has a huge amount of riches in a communistic city. It reminds you of Hunger Games, where you have the town, the city, the richest among them, and it's very walled off and very communistic. And then you have the rural people who struggle each and every day. Well, they're sick and tired of it. They overthrow their government, burn down buildings, burn down, and actually, I mean, a lot of people died, especially some of the higher end. They actually ripped clothes off of the leaders, threw them in the river, and some of them were murdered. It's almost pure anarchy. Now, France, we have a collapse of government. Not only do we have the collapse of the government, we see the fact that now they're wanting to push Macron out. This could be a good thing, because now you're seeing Le Pen come back around. France is fallen. I mean, it's to a point where it's unrecognizable. They said within 10 years, it could actually be the Islamic Republic of France. Is that not unbelievable? That we've seen just such a beautiful country fall because of migration issues. Now let's go to the European Union. Ursula von der Leyen, listen to her comments. She's over the EU now. There's two comments she made that just, it's unbelievable. There are simply no room or no time for nostalgia. Battle lines for a new world order has been based upon power of being drawn, and it's happening right before our eyes. We need to admit to it that new world order is coming. Now, second comment she made during the same speech. We are on the brink of not even just the start, but not only getting into, but will go over and be bigger than the 2020 global health crisis. EU announces a new global health resilience initiative to combat disinformation that will help censor based on the global health crisis that is coming. We are going to see the start of it. Now, if you remember me talking about how the Pegasus thing was starting in the European areas, about how they were going to test this simulation, about how they can control the narrative on a new pandemic that was coming. Now, you're hearing these things from the European Union. You're hearing these things from the dangers of what's going on across the sea. Now listen to this. Poland had to scramble jets because of the dangerousness of Russia going into their airspace. NATO all of a sudden got ramped up, and they thought NATO was going to have to step in and take out 2 jets that came into Poland. Israel goes in and takes out the Hamas leaders in Qatar. Now, to be honest with you, these are the same people that they had on screen rejoicing on October 7th. They were running the war from Qatar, and Qatar was giving them a pass. And Israel didn't go into Qatar and hurt Qatar people, but they did blow up that building. You may not like it or not, but they were defending their people. They did the same thing in Syria, taking out terror organizations all across the Middle East, which ultimately benefits us Americans. You can say what you want, you can say what you don't like about Netanyahu, that's fine, but ultimately, the more damage they do to the terrorists in that area, the less we're going to be affected by it. So, it's a big deal. But Qatar up in arms, Syria up in arms, the Middle East up in arms, as always. The last 24 hours will set precedents for either reawakening something in us nationally and internationally, or we're going to have to pull out of NATO because we're fixing to get pulled into a World War III. Because Poland even made known they didn't do this kind of scrambling, and they did not absolutely see this provocation since Article 4 or Article 5 dealing with their airspace since World War II. He kept referencing how this is a new normal for steps of World War III. Now let's go to America. Donald Trump and Elon both have some huge statements, I thought, that made such a difference. And what it comes down to is, for so long we've been told and indoctrinated that the white race is wrong, that masculinity is wrong, that being an alpha male is wrong, that being a strong Christian conservative male is wrong, that being a strong family is wrong. Now, they've told you all that, and now you're seeing the repercussions of losing all that, where you see how strong men made for good times, and now those good times have been washed and thrown away because now we have weak men that are making hard times. Let's go through a few stories. Now, let's go back to this whole situation with Charlotte. This should be a reawakening of what true masculinity looks like, but also the damage from the black race, not having fathers in the homes, from having government completely destroy this race because they've given them everything, put them up, and they've never taught them actually anything other than relying on the government. The sad part of it is not just the guy in Charlotte that stabbed. That was horrific. The sad thing is the 3 or 4 other people that sat there and watched it happen and did nothing to help this girl. It's truly a white hatred. Now, I want to go through these stories, and I want to talk about what Bondi and Trump just said about this. Elon came out and he reposted this. He says, white people have one choice. It's either be conquered, enslaved, raped, genocided, while being called a racist, meaning we're the ones being held down and talked about, or reclaim our nations and our dignity while being called racist. Either way, the Democrats, the liberals, and all the big players are going to hate you. The thing is, are you going to stand up to it, or are you going to kowtow around it? I think back scripturally, and you know, some pastors, they'll say, oh, you just got to be meek and mild. And I understand that there's times in Scripture where God chose these people to stand up. And they stood up, no matter what the cost was. I think we're to a point where we've got to be those people, or we can kiss American and kiss the European way. You could kiss it goodbye. I love that Matt Walsh's video, of course, is going viral. I listen to Matt Walsh almost every day, but I love what he says. It says, Matt Walsh went over this, and I thought this was amazing, the numbers he went over. By raw numbers, that makes black males in America more dangerous than perhaps any other demographic in the entire world. Listen to this. It says, statistically, a white person is 30 times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. In 2019, there was around 560,000 violent interracial incidents between blacks and whites. 470,000 of those were black on white. That's 85%. 240 black people were killed by whites. 560 white people were killed by blacks. This is all in spite of the population telling you the exact opposite. However, listen to this. Whites make up 60%, blacks make up 13%. By just the raw numbers, blacks at that amount is the most dangerous people when it comes to the dangers of America and what's really facing America. There's 171 million more whites than blacks in our country, yet the number of 85% of blacks killing whites is astronomical. Now Trump comes out and says, we have to be vicious. Trump rages about the Charlotte subway stabbing. It says, President Trump has released a brief video today saying that we have to respond and we cannot let these criminals back on the streets. Well, we should have already fired all the judges that allowed this to happen. And I mean, do you know a lot of these states, I think 32 states don't even allow you to, they don't even make their judges have law degrees. So we have judges that interpret the law, but 32 states will allow some of these small judges to not have law degrees? I'll be honest with you, Mississippi's one of them. I've never understood this. We have local judges that are ruling on cases. Luckily, we don't live in a major crime-ridden city, but we have local judges that are just like one's a car salesman. The other one was a sheriff department guy for a while, and don't get me wrong, that's great, but he doesn't know the law. So how do they set policy and precedent and understand how to keep these people incarcerated if they're lawyers that are arguing to them, and they're sitting there not having a law degree to understand what they're actually saying and what the law is in America? That makes no sense to me. So you wonder why these people keep getting back on the streets. It's unbelievable. They said that 75 to 85% of all black males have no leadership in the home. They're raised by the government with no father in the home. Now, you tell me, why do we want more government intervention in our life if we see that this was a failed experience in the African American race? Because it's been a complete failed experience. Pam Bondi comes out and says, we're going to take over this case because we don't think that Charlotte can do it right. Now, I have a problem with this. Charlotte can't do it right, but what has Pam Bondi done? So do I believe she'll go after this case? Probably so, because she wants the politics of it. But there's been zero arrest of all the things we wanted Pam Bondi to do and what the FBI we wanted to do. Now, we're going to talk about what an FBI warning is coming in just a little bit, and I think it's great that they're bringing the warning signs of it, but what are we doing about these things? We can talk all we want about the dangers in the cities, but if we're not willing to do anything about it, talk is cheap. We have to fire these judges and arrest them for allowing these criminals back on the street. This guy, 13 times. 13 times he was arrested. Career criminal. If they're a career criminal, then they need to be a career criminal in prison, right? Or put to death. It's simple as that. But what we should realize is this career criminal activity is happening with one main race because there's no fathers in the homes, emotions are running rampant, and government has given them everything that they've wanted. Why can't we admit to that? Until we're willing to say the problem out loud, until we're willing to admit it, like Matt Walsh was just doing, we will never fix the problem. Now, a few more things to talk about. FBI comes out with a warning stating, and this is again dangerous, so dangerous. Attention, AI-backed deepfake impersonators are getting so hard to detect that FBI is warning America that be careful who you trust, especially when it comes to certain elements of your life. This is dangerous here. It says, increasingly hard to detect deepfakes, content created, and artificial intelligence is being exploited to impersonate trusted individuals. Now, they said on the local realm, they're impersonating banks, lawyers, children, to give into money and petty theft. But he said, what if all of a sudden an FBI comes out and states, this is dangerous on the national level, because what if all of a sudden this has national implications? So say, for instance, you see a video tomorrow, and I know we see these little joking videos of, Trump fighting with Putin, or Obama holding, Hillary in a headlock, all that kind of stuff. And it's cute, it's funny, blah, blah, blah. But what if all of a sudden we see our main president, or a president of the world, with a serious video, walk to a podium, say something that is so erroneous and so irate and so crazy that it has world-changing rhetoric to it. Now, we would think that that'd be real, or we would say, oh, I wonder if it's fake. What if all of a sudden something goes down and we don't know it's real or fake, and those world implications has started a war, has started chaos, has started crises, and all of a sudden it comes out that it's just fake? How can you walk that back? Can you take that bomb back that you bombed? Can you take that warfighter plane that flew over and dropped something? Could you take that back? No. So this is the time where I think FBI is correct by warning it, but the sad thing is we're just keeping on funding all this AI technology to where we're not going to know what's real right before our eyes anymore. We're not going to be able to listen. It says that the average AI technology can listen to me or listen to you within a 15 to 20 second conversation. If I'm talking and they get that and download it on there, they can replicate my voice with a 99.9% accuracy. This is happening with grandparents. They said this is something that kids go to college, and like their granddaughter goes to college, and all of a sudden she calls, she's panicking because she's been taken, and she's got to give all this money to all these people to let her go, to wire it to this number or to give this amount of money on Cash App, all to find out it was all fake. They replicated the voice, took the parents and grandparents' money. This is happening day in and day out. So now we can't even listen to we can't even know what our ears are telling us or what our eyes are telling us, and they're going to be deceptive. We are going to be deceptive. It is going to be deceptive, and we're going to be deceived. We think this is where we're starting to really talk about the New World Order. We're really starting to talk about the dangers of the end times. We're talking about prophecy things lately in Bible, and you're starting to see where no one can trust anybody anymore because you don't know if things are real or not. You won't even know that. That is unbelievable to me. And that leads me to two more comments that Trump made, and then again right into what Elon said, because we're going to end with that. Trump said it's undeniable that we have been indoctrinated by certain policies and ways, because what we see, even on television, like the pharma ads, even things that we watch and hear, it indoctrinates us. The Department of Education needs to be changed because it's ultimately teaching our children not education but indoctrination. So if we're being programmed, then it becomes norm to us. That's what we don't want. If you remember the comments I made the other day about the German leader about World War II, and how with enough propaganda given to you, enough indoctrination given to you, you realize then you start believing it. Well, if all of a sudden we're fed with all this stuff about AI, we're fed with all this stuff about propaganda, we're fed with all this stuff that we need to change, then we will. I want you to listen to what Miss Shiva said. Now, again, a lot of people like her as a leader. I think she's a great homesteader, but she needs Jesus. But listen to what she says. She says, "My country was the first one that made cash illegal. Digitalization was forced upon my country, and 70% of the economy crashed." She said, "But here's what we were told. We were saying that it was all unfolding and that it was all going to make humanity better." And she said everybody took it hook, line, and sinker and went to a full digitization of our culture. And this was in one of the India provinces. She says we were told so much that this was going to be good, that then we started believing it, and then all of a sudden we realized, holy moly, we cannot go back. It's over. And she says, therefore, the World Economic Forum, the global players got exactly what they wanted. Long as we could hear it and see it, all we needed to do was just trust in it after we heard it for so long. With AI's coming along and helping you program that, and they can make a leader say whatever they want to say, then you're going to believe it, hook, line, and sinker. Now, my last comment, I want to go back to Elon. And Elon lately has been talking to me a lot about things because he's done a lot of interviews. And so we talked about him the last few weeks, talked about him yesterday, but I want you to listen to two things he said. And he was being interviewed by the All In podcast yesterday at their summit. But listen to this. He says, I haven't been to D.C. since May. The government is basically unfixable. I applaud, and he was talking about David Sachs, I applaud Sachs and others like him for the efforts. But at the end of the day, the national debt and the government will fail. And he said it will fail because ultimately we're unfixable. He tried his hardest and it didn't work. Now listen to two things he said, and I want you to weigh them out because they're almost like a good versus evil. Listen to this. He said if AI and robots don't solve the national debt, we will not make as a country. Now that's one way to look at it. He said the right things. He said that it's unfixable. He said he tried. He tried with Doge. He tried to do it, but the government is too deep and it's too big and it will fail. Now he says one way we can look at it is AI and robots will heal this. I actually will believe this will cause for a good time. We will see utopia for a while because it will think humans don't have to do as much. Robots will do it for us. But absolutely we're going to see dystopia because these robots will know everything about you. Not only that, they're AI. Not only that, they're taking your jobs. They said there won't be a factory in America probably ran by human hands within the next 20 years. They said it will be completely ran by robots. So what about all those unions? What about all these corporate jobs? What about the lawyer jobs? They said they won't need them anymore. What about doctors? They said most of the doctors probably won't need it because robotics will do it. So I believe that utopia will turn into dystopia very soon. Now, he made reference to AI and robots and how it needs to help the national debt and those problems. But I want you to listen to something else he said. And I think that if people would wake up and start seeing the world for what it is, a beautiful creation that God made, but that humans have almost ruined it, then I think we'd start realizing how much we need God. I want you to listen to one more thing he said, because I think it made, to me, it made more of an impact. Again, coming from the richest man in the world. If we take religion, I think if you get something out of place which is worse than it will be before. If you take religion out, we will see it worse than we ever have before. You get something destructive like a woke mind virus taking the place of religion. You get dystopian de facto. Religions will then be obsolete and we will self-destruct. We need, listen to this. This is coming from someone who is not a Christian and you know, in a way has a God complex too. But listen to what he says. He says, we need some sort of revival of religion or coherent philosophy that people can be excited about. You either lean on Jesus, lean on the Christian movement, or not. The sad thing is people are going to be searching so hard for something. And the scary part is this. Here's the most scary part. Is we know biblically, if you read the Bible, that most people will reach for the wrong thing. I'm challenging you as a Christian to pray for our nation. Not only that, I'm challenging you as a white conservative Christian to start waking up and paying attention. We have been made to believe that we're the bad guys. We've been made to believe that it's our fault. Everything's our fault. And I'm sick and tired of it. I actually have this Matt Walsh feel that like he was saying, if you go back and watch this video, it's just a phenomenal video, his monologue about this. But until we wake up and realize the problems that we're facing in America and in the world, we don't realize how quick something can take place. The last 24 hours, they said, will cause for a problem for this next 24 hours. Actually, Trump said he has a big announcement coming out today. Not sure what it is. But we're on the brink of something huge happening. You have world leaders talking about collapses and talking about World Economic Forum, but also talking about the New World Order. It's scary out there. But we better pay attention back home. And we better realize that if we don't fix the problem in our cities, we'll have nothing to rely on. It's dangerous for whites, it's dangerous for Christians, it's dangerous for conservatives. And now, like Elon said, people are going to be so broken that they're going to be looking for something. And what are they going to put their hope in? AI, robots, some other world religion. Seems like everybody's moving towards this Muslim faith, which is dangerous. Or are they going to put in the one true God? We have to pay attention to these stories and wake up. Guys, give me your thoughts on today's video. God bless.